Welcome back to another episode of Legacy Battle. I'm Michael Adams, with my co-host tonight from the Gridiron Battle Zone, Brian King. We have an interview for you today with a former women's football player. She was a wide receiver for 7 years with the Pittsburgh Passion, but she is now the owner of the Tampa Bay Inferno. We want to welcome Jennifer Moody. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you both for having me today.
Excellent. We're gonna jump in. I got first question tonight. So we'll get into, how you started playing and your passion time, but let's start with this. How did you become the founder, the owner of the Tampa Bay Inferno in 2012? And tell us a bit about the franchise history.
Sure. Well, super proud and excited that we're entering year 15 for a great organization, year over year, claiming sustainability and continued growth in our local Tampa Bay community. So very proud of our year over year growth. How I came about it was, certainly there was once I retired in Pittsburgh and relocated to Tampa, there was always the bigger vision for me for continuing the sport and creating a better platform for other leaders here in across the nation in the WFA. And Tampa actually has some really rich history of women's tackle football dating back to the early 2000s. I believe there are 4 or 5 women's tackle teams that have came and went over the years. So a lot of deep roots in history here in terms of women's tackle football. The team who was operating prior to Inferno, I had met one of the players, athletes, and head coach, and we had a great conversation. The first conversation was, would I be interested in playing? And certainly my playing days had been retired because, of course, Franco Harris gave me some of the best advice ever was make sure you give up the game and the game doesn't give you up. So I took that to heart and retired on my time and knew I had a lot more left in me to give. And I presented to the head coach and some of their players in terms of how I would operate my leadership style. And we started over from scratch, a new team, Tampa Bay Inferno. And here we are 15 years later.
Awesome. So, a question for you. I'm sure you've probably experienced this a little bit here, but how are these women surviving playing in Tampa in the summer in full padding, and what does a week's prep of practice look like in the summer? Because I mean, the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't even willing to do that. So, fill me in on this.
Yeah. I tell you what, we're very fortunate. We have an incredible roster of women every single year that just have incredible, grit and work ethic and desire to really play for the love of the game. At this point in our world of women's tackle football, these women are still playing for the love of the game and making a lot of sacrifices. They're full-time moms, career women, juggling not just career, family, many, many things that these women do from ages 18 into their mid 40s. And so, the temperature is not one of the things that holds these women back. These women really have a ton of grit and dedication, as I mentioned. So a little bit of hot weather doesn't deter us. Certainly the week leading up to it, as we get into some of our game preparation as the season goes on, we obviously periodize our practices. So our practice plan changes in terms of our opponents and our scouting. But typically we are 2 days a week of full gear and, heat, rain, whatever it is, temperatures don't deter us. And, we prepare as much as we can along with some film study in addition to 2 on-field practices in preparation for our game day on Saturdays.
And I'd like you to tell us about the Inferno Women's Football Foundation and how people can support this cause.
Yeah, thank you for that. So very proud. 2 years ago, started a 501(c)(3) called Inferno Women's Football Foundation, and it was really important to me as owner and leader of this team that we find additional ways to support the women via scholarshiping the women. So any financial barriers or obstacles would not prevent them from playing a game that they love to play. Certainly, other resources that come in. We want to make sure the women are playing in safe equipment. So helmets, shoulder pads, the proper gear to ensure their safety, both on and off the field. And then certainly focusing on athlete mental wellness. As we all know, mental health is a very large topic in our community and across the world. And just because you're a strong, driven athlete doesn't mean that you may not struggle with some things outside of the sport. So it's very important that we surround our team and our athletes with positive mental wellness and to make sure that they have any resources that they need to be successful, again, both on and off the field.
So Jennifer, let's go back to the beginning. You grew up in the Pittsburgh area. Which sports did you play as a child, and when were you first drawn to the game of football itself?
Great question. So, born and raised in the great city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and if you're raised there, you're sure enough to be a football fan. I have pictures that some of my neighbors actually sent me when they found out that I was playing women's tackle football, and it was me at age 5 years old with the neighbor boys in a helmet and a gear from what we could scram up. Playing in the backyard. So my love for the sport started very early on. I was always a little athlete running around and playing in the neighborhood. And, at one point, my mother and father, two incredible role models for me, put a basketball in my hand and said, here's something that you can do. And so my love for basketball started, and through the YMCA and our school district had opportunities to play in elementary, middle, high school, and then went on to play college basketball at Waynesburg University. And it was post-college is when I learned about that there was an opportunity to play not just flag football, but women's tackle football.
So you mentioned the YMCA there. That's a perfect segue into my next question. I understand that you're also a director of administration for the YMCA, and it greatly impacted your childhood.
Absolutely. Yes. So many of us have a great why story, and the YMCA is just an incredible nonprofit worldwide. And you're very fortunate to work with some fantastic colleagues here in the Tampa Bay area. So we serve, ages 0 through 99 or whatever it is. So a lot of great programs to provide solid impact for our local community. Director of administration is my current role, and I've been with the Tampa Y for 13 years now.
Wow.
So Jennifer, you played with the Pittsburgh Passion for 7 years. You were with them in the early part of their franchise history. How would you describe your time playing for that team?
Yeah, certainly created some of the best friends that I will have for the rest of my life. The playing for the Pittsburgh Passion was an absolute incredible and life-changing experience for me. Sport was always a big part of my life, but there was something very special about playing, women's tackle football. Sport, you can learn so many wonderful life lessons, and it doesn't mean you stop when you become an adult. And when I was in my mid-20s and started playing, I was still learning those life lessons and forming some great friendships that, again, will last for a lifetime. I was very fortunate to be, I guess, one of the original peaches, as you can call us. But from day one, the very first tryout that we had in, I believe it was 2002. And then we entered the league at the time in 2003. So fantastic experience, great leadership, and just a staple in the community there in Pittsburgh.
So Jennifer, women's football, it's come a long way from its infancy 25, 30 years ago. What do you believe is the next major step for the sport to make, in its growth process?
Sure. It's been a grind for sure. This is year 24 for me for being a part as player and owner, and certainly on the operations side. So obviously the love for it is there because it entails a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and for not a lot of glory at the end of the day, other than the impact and the personal wins that each of us receive. But I really think the next steps are more awareness. So thank you guys for taking the opportunity to help share the word. And the stories of the women are absolutely amazing. How these women, again, just continue to play the sport for the love of the game and juggle so many things in life, and certainly the high demands that the sport entails. Women don't just start playing tackle football at age 5 like the boys do and have that experience. So these women are learning a new sport, a brand new sport, in a matter of a year or two, and executing it on the field. So I think the next step certainly is, the awareness, because once people do check out a game or they learn about the stories of the women, they become fans. It's, wow, it's not just a woman out there playing football. I mean, it's an athlete. It's not a guy. It's not a girl. It's an athlete playing tackle football.
Jennifer, you've been involved in women's football for, like you said, a couple decades now. As you look back on it all, what would you say is the most special memory that you have?
Gosh, there's so many. But I would say, one of the, can I give you two?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Certainly,
Sure, yeah.
as any, competitor, that ultimate goal of winning a national championship, and was very fortunate to have that experience in 2007 when, we played the Columbus Comets and went down to Nashville, Tennessee, and, came back with a national championship trophy. So to be able to share that experience with your sisters, your teammates was just an amazing opportunity and experience that I will treasure and remember forever. And the second, most memorable moment, really goes back to, I had started a nonprofit called Passion for Life Foundation with Teresa Kahn, the owner. There was a handful of us who founded that and started a mentoring program with some middle school girls. And it's called the Dreams Program. And there was an opportunity that I got to introduce, one of my role models in terms of football, Franco Harris. He came out and speak to, the young girls, and we talked about life lessons. And, it was just a really surreal moment of, I grew up watching this incredible athlete and just an incredible person who became a friend to us in Pittsburgh, and certainly with our league, with women's tackle football, as he was such a supporter. But me getting to introduce my role model to, these young girls who were, just, trying to help them understand to, keep working hard and to don't let things stop you from achieving your goals and dreams in life. So I would say that was a pretty surreal, full circle moment for me.
So I, I didn't have this one planned, so like I said, we throw questions in sometimes. Like you said, we're almost like 25 years in. So Brian and I just recently had the opportunity to interview MVP Makai Chavez,
Yes.
the quarterback.
Yes.
So
Fantastic.
we saw her jump teams, kind of almost like free agency. So what would you say, 'cause you've been doing this so long, is going to be the best way going forward here in 2025 to build a team, to make a strong team? Are we looking at like still trying to get homegrown talent, or maybe is it going to evolve like other sports and we're going to see like free agent moves all over?
I think so. There's certainly a huge evolution with women's tackle football that we don't even know. We don't even know what that looks or feels like yet. But I think that certainly will be a part of it as the league continues to grow, as more financial resources come into play with more significant sponsors. We're very lucky to have the support of ESPN now, ESPN2, with airing our national championship weekend and our game streamed on the All Women's Sports Network. So again, from an awareness standpoint and from a branding standpoint from our national league, certainly we're moving in the right direction for those things to happen. So right now it's focused on local talent. But, there are teams that have some players that do travel. Maybe there has been a liking to the team, or the program that is operated, or certainly for us, sometimes if we have somebody who's played with us a number of years and has moved on for career, or actually military. We have 3 active duty military who have played a number of years with us.
Wow.
So we have 3 of those active duty military that travel in to play the games, and a few practices to be able to stay connected with us and make sure that they're doing their part of learning the X's and O's and execution off the field too.
Brian, I have one more question, but if you do you have another one? Yep, Brian. No.
Yeah, I just want to ask, people in the Florida area, in the Tampa area who are interested in seeing an Inferno game, can you tell us like where is your venue, and how do they go about getting tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So we play our home games. Our home opener is May 2nd against my alma mater there in Pittsburgh Passion. So May 2nd will be our home opener, 6 p.m. Our games this season will be played at Sickles High School, so in the Citrus Park area in Tampa, just north of the airport. Folks can purchase tickets online. Those have not gone on sale just yet, as we have a platform through Sports Illustrated Tickets that people can buy them online, or certainly walking up to the gate, purchasing tickets. Adults are $15, and students, senior, and military are $10 at the gate.
So this is kind of we'll call it a happy thinking question for myself here. So, we here in the Tampa area, we love our orange creamsicle jerseys. Has there ever been any thought of maybe trying to recreate that, since the Bucks don't do it anymore, but it is something that is totally loved by fans here in Pittsburgh, man. Any thoughts of ever moving to those colors?
Yeah, probably not moving, but to having a signature game or something like that, certainly open. Fan engagement is super important to us as well, because we wouldn't be here without our fans and family and sponsors. So, if that could make something super exciting, then, we definitely would keep that in mind, and maybe have a certain game in the season be, dedicated to some type of throwback type of jersey.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining and sharing with us today. Very good stuff, and I hope that this league can build to what I know it can be. I've seen several games already. Really enjoy it. Any like last thoughts you'd want to say to someone who's maybe never seen a game, what they can expect?
Absolutely. I would say come and check it out. As I mentioned before, when you come and check out a game, sometimes people just don't know what to expect. They may have, images of flag or powder puff in their mind, but this is, NCAA full contact tackle football. So just like you see with the men, you're going to walk away feeling pretty excited and impressed. It's, a great offensive game to watch, some great tackles, and some fun plays that we used to, pull some of the tricks out of our sleeve as well too. So I guarantee that if you come and check out a game, you won't be disappointed, and you'll be talking about it to your friends and family.
So May 2nd, everybody, Tampa Bay Inferno start their season. Make sure you get tickets playing the Pittsburgh Passion. So location is coming soon. And remind everybody who's watching this, hit that like, subscribe, notification button. We'll see everybody next time. Have a great night.